wisdom, student enrollment. That's what the class of God students enrolling. Supreme wisdom, I study it hard. The study of myself is the study of God. Supreme wisdom, write your letter, get your X. Supreme wisdom, that's what you'll be getting next. Supreme wisdom, some call it the lessons, but I call it life, actual facts, no guessing.
Tell you this, because I looked into that briefly, and what they did say is that when it comes to like the physical like structure of the brain, they said in animals, they get their brain makeup from their father. And so even interesting enough, going back to Jacob, you remember we talked about Jacob being Yakub, but there's later in Jacob's his parable that he, goes to his uncle's house and then he tries to marry his uncle's daughter, and they went through all this. After his uncle tricked him, he was like, I gotta get up out of here. And he was gonna take all his cattle with him, but the uncle was like, no. He was like, you can't come here and take my sheep. He was like, those are mine. And then Jacob was like, well, my cattle that I brought here were males, and they impregnated your female cattle, and therefore their children are mine. So he was saying that because my males mix with your females, the children have a leaning, it somehow belong to the father.
That's right.
It's interesting in that. I'll do more research on that and bring it to you. But even biblically, even scripture, it goes along with something about being the seed of a man that goes into who you belong to. But genetically, on certain things, for the most part, this is how, like I said, this is an oversimplification. This is for teaching purposes to get over a concept, but you can do more than one cross, You can even cross different traits at the same time and see like the different mixtures of the children. But last point on this is that I'm making interesting enough. You see how what I do is I use two letters that are the same, two H's, one big H, one small H. The messenger said there were two germs inside this black man. He said one is brown, one is black. What's the first letter of brown?
B.
What's the first letter of black?
B.
So we can do that cross right there.
Right.
This is the black germ, this is the brown germ.
Right.
So if we replace these H's, right? And we have big B stands for black, which is dominant.
Right.
Little b stands for brown, which is recessive, right? And then we have big B, and then we have little b. We can do the same cross, and then we can see that if we cross right here, we'll get a child that is lighter, that is recessive, right?
Right.
So two germs, one brown, one black. And he said if he can separate this brown germ into its last stage, he can make it right.
And you could figure out how long it would take.
But I'm gonna get to it, because like you asked the question in the beginning, you said, and even I said, at what point does it become white? Because white isn't there. At what point does it become white? At what point does it become white? And now, next slide. My answer is albinism. You see this man right here? You probably can barely see him because he's so white. He's so white, and it's blended with the background, but look at his features. Black. He got big lips, got a square jaw, got that big old nose, got that strong face, strong jaw, kinky hair. But yet, this man is white skin, blonde hair.
And a lot of times they have blue eyes, they use like
It's different types. That's the point I was making. So this man is an albino, but yet he's a black man. But somehow his skin and his hair are lacking color. The color of a black man. But he is a black man. You remember what Blumenbach said? He said, along with skin color and hair and all these different things, but he was saying that it's the structure, that cranial structure, that skeletal structure, which is how you can tell that they're black as well.
And is that where that mix comes in that you talked about, as far as the chromosomes are concerned? You can still have a white skin, or the baby choosing the white skin, so to speak, but still have the other side be the black dominant?
Yeah,
as we're looking
because
at
No, that's not the case. That is a,
I'm gonna, sister,
okay, genetic.
but my thing is, what you're saying is that can you have a black person that just only doesn't have black skin or brown skin, you know, melanated skin?
Right. But my point is to go back to what you said earlier as far as the choice.
The choice.
Right.
Oh, there's no choice.
Right.
This is, you remember what, well, according to Mendel, how this little cross right here is random, but even within randomness, it's a probability, right? But whether the child comes out this genotype, you know, or this genotype is.
And I said choice, which was a poor choice of words.
As long as it's this and this, you will always express the dominant.
So my point is that the skin is recessive, but other than the skin, in this brother right here is dominant. Was my
Well,
point.
oversimplifying, yes, because you remember I said this is your gene, this is your chromosome, and you remember I said, you know, you get. Because have you ever seen the chromosome?
And that's
X,
what
right?
I'm getting at right now.
You know, chromosome, a chromosome is, if you
Right.
take this to a cross and you get that little X that we know is a chromosome, but that's just straight about unwounding. And so what I'm saying is that you get one from your mother. So basically, you see this little section on both of them? They code for the same thing. And so on this brother, this is what coded for his hair, skin, and eyes.
Right.
But the rest of this was the coding that would line up with the black man.
That's what I'm getting at.
But the part of his chromosome that coded for skin color and pigmentation, something happened right there.
Okay,
Something happened.
See, that's what I wanted to say. Now, see, with the skin color of albinism, that is actually a chromosomal defect. Okay, that is,
Go ahead.
That's a chromosomal defect. It starts with the M when something changes, when it switches
Mutation.
up. Mutation. So there are mutations.
Like she said, like she did that. Well, I'll read the slide. Well, Brother Malik. But I'll read this because it's real scientific. Albinism. When people who are affected with this condition called albinism, they're called albinos.
No.
If somebody actually has this condition, because we don't want to spread hate, because we, like I said, this is a brother. So he's our brother, so we have brothers and sisters out there who are affected with this condition. So they might be watching. We don't want them to feel any type of way, but we're just dealing with the science of it.
But
Right.
their nature has not been changed.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get to that. But albinism is a rare group of genetic disorders. So let's get this clear before I even finish this. Albinism is not normal. It is abnormal, and not only is it abnormal, but it's bad, actually. It's bad for you. It is a disorder.
Mm-hmm.
So albinism is a rare group of genetic disorders that cause the skin, hair, or eyes to have little or no color. Okay? Right?
Right.
So it says a defect, this is not an advantageous thing, but this is actually a negative thing. A defect in one of the several genes that produce or distribute melanin causes albinism, right? So here we go. This right here, that little gene right there that caused the distribution of melanin, on this person, something went wrong right there, right? And so it says, the defect may result in the absence of melanin production, or a reduced amount of melanin production. The defective gene passes down from both parents to the child and leads to albinism. So that means in order for him to be albino, that means that he could have had two black parents, but he was child number 4.
Or HH, right?
He could have had an albino parent, a full albino parent who had the same genotype as him.
Right.
He could have had one that was black, but they both carried the gene, right?
Right.
But there's no way that his parents didn't have this and somehow produced them. So that means that his parents are the reason that he like this. They carry that on the inside of them.
Right.
Okay? But that's not their fault either, because their parents obviously carried it and brought it down to them, right?
It was that.
So it's just something that is inherited. It's something that we don't have control of. Yes, ma'am.
There's a couple in Africa, that black Africans that had twins. One black,
Okay.
one white. Oh, that was on your tape?
Well, since she wants to talk about that, I didn't mention this because I was moving so fast. But you see this right here? These two children look around the same age. Matter of fact, this picture is actually two girls that are twin sisters.
Right.
This child came out black.
Brown skin
This
with
came
black
out
eyes, white with blue eyes.
I even have more pictures of them on my computer, but I wanted to make
I
this
think
point.
it's the same. No, that's not.
Studying the germ with the microscope, so I found this is actually a real case of a mother carrying twins, kind of like Jacob and Esau, right?
Right.
And they came out different.
Right.
This
I heard
woman,
about them military on the woman.
yep, Oprah, yep, that's right, because they were world famous because it's so strange,
Yeah.
right?
No.
But this is proof right here, is that as long as you are a carrier of those genes, at some point in time, there's a probability that they can be expressed. Yes, ma'am.
Going back to when I was doing the lecture on who is the original man, back to the gene, when he studied himself, said he found two germs inside of himself, the original man. And so what he did was try to correct that mutation, that defect in him, yes, in himself. But when we're talking about when he studied himself, this is how you know that was a human being. Because he had the genome, he had
He had children.
Yes,
He had him some children,
human
and he was
DNA
like,
that he was able to read. So Yakub wasn't the first one to read the genome. The God in the beginning was
that's
able
right,
to read.
because the originator had the brown germ was president originator.
And when studying himself, he discovered it.
Right.
And so Yakub, according to the minister, the scientist Yakub, said that he was the greatest scientist that the black nation ever produced because he discovered what had been giving us trouble for 66 trillion years.
Right. So, again, genes are inherited. Albinism is inherited, right? That means that it came from somewhere, and we all know that, you know, we're children of the originator God. So that meant that the originator God had it. At least was a carrier of it. He might not have expressed it, but he had it in him.
Supreme wisdom, some call it the lessons, but I call it life, actual facts, no guessing.